all my dear Toastmasters and all dear guests. So we'll start with the introduction. And it's now my duty and privilege and honor to induct the last induction for this term. New member Sharma and Yash into our Bangalore Toastmaster family and to our club. This is an important occasion both for us and also for these new members. These individuals have come to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication and leadership skills, and we have now been opportunity to help them to learn, grow and achieve. Now I will call upon the new member forward and ask them to join me at the lectern. Please withhold your applause until the ceremony is completed. So first, Sharma, please come. And also Yash. Sharma and Yash, you are joining a worldwide organization that has helped more than 4 billion people learn to communicate more effectively. As members of the Bangalore Toastmasters Club, you will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You will become part of an outstanding group of people who are dedicated to helping one another in a spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Vice President Education, there we'll skip it off. I think the whole thing is the mentors has been assigned, right? To Sharma is Toastmaster Anna, and to Yash is Toastmaster Al. So, would these Toastmasters please stand like what Anna is as experienced Toastmaster, you have been asked to help these new members get off to a good start. Do you accept this responsibility and pledge to share your responsibility and experience with our new members so that they can immediately begin to benefit from their Toastmasters membership? Membership in this club and in Toastmaster International is a privilege that carries with it many rewards. Yet it also places certain obligations upon you. We are a group of people brought together to do things we could not accomplish alone. Our collective obligation is to grow and improve ourselves and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members in a spirit of enjoyment. This means you must work diligently towards your own self-development, evaluate other speeches in a spirit of support and sharing, assist the club in reaching its goal, remain positive and keep a smile on your face. We ask our new members to dedicate yourself to personal growth, to share this great gift with our fellow members and to keep this Toastmaster Club more strong and dynamic. So we have to take a vote. So you can mention your name, you can give your hands. Sharma. Yes. In the presence of my fellow members, of the Bangalore Toastmasters Club, make this firm obligation to attend meetings regularly and prepare fully for each assignment, to apply myself to the projects outlined in the Toastmaster education program, to participate actively in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive and constructive manner, to build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members, and to bring other new members into the club so that they they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters. Thank you. Would all club members please stand and repeat your love words to your new members? So keep your hands taken out. So we the members of the Bangalore Toastmasters Club.
We the members of the Bangalore Toastmasters Club.
Pledge to support.
You.
In your quest.
In your quest.
For self-development. To provide you with positive. Helpful evaluations. To maintain a friendly. Supportive atmosphere. To give you opportunities. To help others. And to make your Toastmaster membership. A rewarding. And fulfilling experience. Thank you. So let us give a big round of applause and welcome. So you are being taught a congregation of Toastmaster TM before your name. Thank you, and I call upon starting with the
Thank you, Toastmaster George, for conducting this introduction ceremony. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Welcome to the new members, and welcome to meeting number 1328 to everyone here. Now, the theme for today's meeting is "The Squeaky Wheel Gets Grease." Now, I want to show of hands, how many of you agree with this statement? Okay, quite a few. So the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this was that it's all about balance. When you hear the phrase squeaky wheel, it's not a very positive way to describe someone, right? You see that squeaky wheels are supposed to be very annoying, and you do get people's attention by complaining about whatever's going wrong. But again, you have to remember to keep it in moderation, because being a squeaky wheel works in the short term. It's a very good short-term fix, but over the long term, you will just end up annoying other people. Being a squeaky wheel does have its benefits because it helps make things go smoother when you go complain to the authorities. Now, there are a few things I want you all to keep in mind to make this meeting go smoothly. One, please do not get up and walk around when the speaker is speaking on stage. You may do so when you hear applause. Two, make sure you don't say something that can hurt or offend others, because we want this meeting to be a positive experience for everyone. And three, I can see a lot of you holding your cell phones. I want you to take your cell phones and put them on silent. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to do that. We have a very special person who's going to take this meeting forward now. He tells me that he has learned a lot from Toastmasters, both leadership skills and communication skills that he has applied at work and with his family. But there is one important thing that he's also learned over here. He's learned to evaluate himself and to course correct. And that is something very unique that you learn in Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I want you to put your hands together to help me welcome Toastmaster Pradeep Uttapa on stage.
Thank you, Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Chaitra, for the wonderful introduction. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Welcome to the meeting number 1328. I declare the meeting 1328 as open. The minutes of the meeting for the last meeting, that was 1327, was shared by our Secretary, Toastmaster Kirtana. Are there any amendments to the minutes of meeting that was shared?
No.
I declare the minutes as passed. For the benefits of guests, the Bangalore Toastmasters Club was started in the year 1997 with a vision to help people develop their leadership skills and also to overcome the fear of public speaking. Today, we are the largest and the second oldest club across India. Last April, we celebrated our Silver Jubilee function. If you would like to know more about Bangalore Toastmasters Club, you can reach out to our VP membership, Toastmaster George Lisa, during the networking break. Coming to the theme of the meeting, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The squeaky wheel gets the grease is a modern version of an older saying, the crying baby gets the milk. You all would have come across people who usually complain about everything or create a fuss about everything that they do because they love to seek attention and also they get whatever they want. When compared to others who prefer to stay calm or anxious and not cause problems. The theme also refers to issues that are loudest and those are the ones which are likely to get attention. Like it happened in the year 2017 when a flyover was proposed between the Chalukya signal all the way to Hebbal. In spite of having stiff opposition from the general public and the environmentalists, which would have resulted in axing of around 2,000 trees, our government was adamant on implementing the project. On a Sunday, a majority of Bangaloreans joined hands and formed a human chain across the path of the proposed flyover with the slogan, "Steel Flyover Veda," and they ensured that their voices were heard and finally the project was scrapped. I myself have been a non-speaking throughout my life. I usually take things that usually come my way, be it the grades at school or the hikes or the promotion at work. And then I realized that I need to be speaky at times as I lost out on few opportunities because I never asked for it. So I believe being speaky at times can be rewarding, but we need to strike a balance because being squeaky can also be considered as a nuisance. And to remember, a squeaky wheel is also likely to be replaced. To take the meeting forward, I would like to invite the Toastmaster, introduce the Toastmaster of the day. This gentleman is a new member of our club. He is a dedicated Toastmaster who has already delivered 2 speeches in the last 1 month. last week we heard him speak about cats and about adopting animals and how beneficial is it for us. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Toastmaster Shashank on stage.
There was this colleague of mine where I used to work, where no one spoke up. He was the only person who started speaking to others and demanding things. What happens when you demand things from others? People will listen to you at least, to begin with. We were all impressed. At least the change is happening now. We all were happy. He took advantage of it, took things to the next level. Became a little more aggressive, started demanding things. Right now, I want it right now, I want this to be happened. He went to the next level once again. Eventually, he was fired. What was the issue here? As you already heard from the Sergeant at Arms and the presiding officer, squeaky wheel gets the grease. What does this mean? If you have any issue, what would happen if you keep the issue within you? Will it be solved? Will it be resolved? Very unlikely. What would happen if you raise your hand and say, this is the issue, I want a solution right now? Will someone at least listen to it first? Implementation is a different thing. Will someone listen to it? There are very high chances. Just imagine a normal Toastmasters meeting, there is some issue, there is a water leakage. You write a nice email to the president or the secretary or someone from the executive committee. Dear executive committee member, this is to bring to your notice that there is so and so issue happening. The executive committee may read and they may choose to react it immediately, they may choose not to. But what if you raise your hand and say, what is this? There is waterfall on top of my head. How long has it been? Try to repair it. What will the executive committee do now? Because you shouted, they may get it repaired, get it done on priority. Right? But again, as the presiding officer mentioned, what is the limit here? There is something called as the squeaky wheel syndrome. If you are working in an organization which is infected with squeaky wheel syndrome, if you are not open enough, if you don't speak up, you will never be heard, because only the voices which are heard will be listened to. What is the solution then? Does that mean if you are quiet, nothing would happen? How would you react as a leader? Listen to everyone. Grease everyone. Grease all the wheels, not only the squeaky ones. Because if you give more weightage to them, they will start squeaking even more. And as my mentor, Dr. Rajdeep, said some time back, if you squeak a little, they will grease you. If you squeak too much, they will replace the wheel. There is also a saying which says a protruding nail gets hammered down. Why is that so? The nail is standing apart from others. All the nails are silently blending in. There is one nail which is standing out. What will happen? Will you encourage the nail? You will just hammer it down. Same thing happens when we go overboard and try to speak a lot, wherein our voice will not only not be heard, it will never be heard. In fact, we will be out of the organization. It gets irritating sometimes, right? When you convey your problems, you will get solutions. But when you force it upon them, they will think you are always irritating. You can't be made happy. We can't please you enough. I'll ignore you. Theme of today: squeaky wheel gets the grease. Now, how many guests are here amongst us today? Can I have a show of hands? A lot of you. How many first-time guests? For the benefit of the guests, the Toastmasters movement started in 1904 and 1905. But the first club was incorporated in 1924 by one Dr. Ralph C. Smedley. Did someone speak to him and tell start a club? As a leader, he was not reactive, he was proactive. He saw there was an issue. There are not many leaders who are created. There are not many speakers who are created. He didn't wait for someone to squeak at him and then start. He started on his own. And now we have presence in over 149 countries, in over 15,800 clubs with more than 3 lakh members. What about Bangalore Toastmasters Club? 1997. We started in the year 1997 by 4 members, including our current member, Toastmaster Robinson D'Souza. But again, did someone speak at him and tell him, start a club, there are some issues, you create a club, you want more speakers? He took it upon him and started this club. So I think we all of us are here because of the initiatives taken by 4 members. I think we'll give them a big round of applause. A typical Toastmasters meeting has 3 sessions, 3 segments. The first is a prepared speech segment, wherein all the speakers come prepared. They have their own paths and levels and projects to clear. Depending on each and every path, they will prepare their own speech and they will present it in front of us. That is the first segment. The second segment is the table topic segment. It's like pick and speak segment, wherein the table topics master who handles the session comes on stage, invites a member at random, asks him to come on stage and asks him to talk for 2 minutes. On spot, there is no time given for you to prepare. This is where we love intuitive speaking. Wherein on spot thinking, we'll have to think on spot, we'll have to plan on spot, we'll have to talk on spot. We don't have time to plan our speech. This is the second segment. The third segment is the most important segment, which is the evaluation segment. Now, why do I say it's important? Now, as you can see on the board, there are 3 speakers, probably around 7 to 8 table topic speakers, and 3 plus a couple of evaluators. What will others do sitting here? They will listen. By listening, you will learn. The first speaker is speaking, he is being evaluated, the general evaluator evaluates the proceedings, everything happens. At the end of the day, without you even contributing to the meeting, you are seeing what did he do right, what did he do wrong, what if I were him, how do I improve. So you are learning without even being part of the meeting physically, right? The evaluation segment is headed by one general evaluator. As you can see, the name is not mentioned there. I will introduce the general evaluator when I ask him to submit his report. I'll give you a small hint. He is not Toastmaster Ayyappa, as you see on the agenda. It's definitely not him. It's someone else. I will not name him out now. I will introduce him at the end. Because he is here right now, he is observing the meeting from the beginning. From 6:30 he is observing the meeting and he will observe it till the end and he will present a report. Because he is here right now amongst us, I ask you to give a big round of applause to him. The general evaluator is not alone in evaluation. All the 3 prepared speakers have individual evaluators. Speaker 1 will have an individual evaluator, speaker 2 separate one, and speaker 3 a separate one. He is also assisted by a team called the Taggle team. Taggle stands for timer, counter, grammarian, and listener. So to spell out the roles of each member, I request all of you individually to stand up and tell us what you actually do. So starting with the role of timer, I request Toastmaster Ghanshyam to please stand up and tell us what you actually do.
Good evening, everyone. As a timer, it is my duty to time and record the duration of the entire meeting and its individual part. For today's meeting, the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, and there is an icebreaker for that. It's 4 to 6 minutes. After 5 minutes, I will hold up the green card, and 6 minutes yellow card, and at the end of 7th meeting, the red card. Table topic speeches are from 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will hold up the green card. At 1.5 meeting, I will hold up the yellow card, and at the 2 minute, the red card. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report to the general evaluator, and submit to the club secretary in order to become a part of the club and better. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vijayan. Next, the role of our counter, we have Toastmaster Yesh.
Hello everyone. As our counter, I will be listening very carefully for the use of vocal pauses and crutch words such as her, so, and other repetitive words or phrases. I will also keep track of everyone and report at the end of the meeting on who best control their use of filler words. This evaluation starts at the beginning of the meeting and ends at the adjournment.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Taking the role of grammarian, we have Toastmaster Shelma.
Good evening, everyone. As grammarian, I am responsible for introducing the word of the day. Today's word is Pollyanna. The definition and pronunciation is found on the board at the front of the room. Let me explain. It is an excessively cheerful or an optimistic person. I will record those participants who properly use the word of the day. Furthermore, I will comment on the use of the English language throughout the course of our meeting. I am watching for the 7 sins of the grammar, which include using double negatives, double comparisons, extra words, incorrect verb tense, confused adjectives and adverbs, inappropriate pronoun use and disagreement of subject and verb. I will also make note of good usage of the English language. I will present my report during the evaluation portion of today's. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shelma. We also have a listener today. I request Toastmaster Mahesh to please fill out your role.
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. As a listener today, I will be asking questions based on what was narrated on stage. So keep your eyes open, looking at the stage, but also ears listening to what the speaker is speaking. So be ready to answer for the specific nicks and tricks that I will be giving up for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Now, before moving on to the first segment, that is the prepared speech segment, I have one request. Now, whenever a speaker comes on stage, do you think he'll be all relaxed, coming here around and speaking?
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes.
Yes and no. Yes, because he's very experienced here. No, because we feel the stomach churning inside, right? When we are supposed to come on stage. How will we support them?
Cheering them. Cheering them.
Cheering. How do we cheer them? How do we cheer them up? Is this enough? Or is this enough? We are transferring our energy to them. We are making them more confident. So next time when some speaker walks on stage, instead of saying, you say, come, you talk something. The speaker will coming on stage like, yeah, I'm ready for it, I'm up for it. So you'll be all geared up and that nervousness will fade away. Right? So let us begin with the prepared speech segment. Now, before introducing the first speaker for today, I request the speaker's evaluator, Toastmaster Sureka, to please read the guidelines. Please.
Yes, the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of the public speech. The duration of the speech is 4 to 6 minutes. All the very best to you, Kaushal. Go ahead and rock.
So the first speaker for today, I have known him for 30 years now. Because he's my cousin. We literally grew up together. I can tell you a lot about him. All the good things and the bad things and the funny things and the creepy things, but I won't. Because he is here to introduce himself in front of you by giving his first ever speech here, which is the icebreaker speech. So please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Kaushal. Toastmaster Kaushal will be speaking on Believe in yourself, trust the journey. Believe in yourself, trust the journey. Toastmaster Kaushal.
Everything comes to you in the right place at the right time. This is something that I strongly believe in. I hope you're all relaxed and comfortable. Are you all relaxed and comfortable?
Yes.
Trust me, I'm not at all comfortable. As Vijayan said, this is my first speech here. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For those of you who don't know me, I am an entrepreneur in the food and beverage industry for the past 10 years now. I own franchisee outlets of Subway, Polar Bear, and 2 cafes of my own brand, Cafe Cafe and Mint Magic Cafe, and 1 gaming center, which is got high-end computer gaming, Alpha Esports Cafe. I am born and brought up in Bangalore, roots from Bangalore. I stay with my loving family, my wonderful wife, and a year-old son, with 5 special privileged beings. Any guesses on what these 5 special privileged beings are? Yes. Dogs and cats. So I've got 2 dogs and 3 cats at home. So it's like the number of humans is equal to the number of animals at home. I am extremely passionate about business and spirituality as well. I am also a trained hypnotherapist. When I was a kid, I was a very shy kid basically. And I would never speak to strangers. And how many of you did not like maths at school or had this, who used to score low numbers in maths? I've got company here. Alright, I had this love and hate relationship with maths. Maths used to love me a lot, but I used to hate maths. And also my maths teacher, because my maths teacher always thought that I would never do well in maths. When I was 16, I started my first business. I used to import exotic gadgets from China and sell it on the only available e-commerce platform back then, that was eBay. I did it for about 2 years. I earned good amount of money, but my parents were totally against it because they thought it would take away my study time and they didn't want me to pursue it further. I later graduated. I took up MBA, but again I quit college. I quit full-time college, and then I again took up correspondence. During this phase, I took up my first job at Converges, and I worked there for 3 months only because I had this tough time with my manager and I was not happy with the way he treated me. So I put out my papers, and then I thought it's time for me to get into business. And at the age of 21, I started my first business. I was the youngest franchisee of Polar Bear at that point of time. I was 21 years old when I started my first business. 2 years down the line, I again started a franchisee of Subway. And again 2 years down the line, I started 2 more cafes. One is called Cafe Cafe and one is called Mint Magic Cafe, which cater into Italian, continental and Chinese food. So this has been my business journey so far. But there were times when I was treated badly by people. For example, it could be my maths teacher, who always thought that I would never do well in life. She always used to tell me, you cannot solve this problem, this is not for you, don't even try it. And these were times when I was let down. And when I had to get my first business registered at the age of 21, I went to my chartered accountant, who also happens to be a family friend and a well-wisher. So I go to this chartered accountant and I tell him, okay, I have this business idea. I have to set up a franchise of Polar Bear. And he's like, he thought about it and he's like, why do you want to waste your time and money? Your parents have worked really hard. Why do you want to waste their money? And these words actually put me down completely. And I had to rethink on what I was doing and all that. But later I decided I was very clear about what I wanted to do. I just went forward and I started then, and today I have set up all these businesses. So, with all this experience, I strongly believe in trust your journey, believe in yourself, and you will be in the right place at the right time. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster.
For the benefit of the guests, when the speaker delivers his icebreaker speech, that is his first ever speech, it's our custom tradition to give him a standing ovation so that he comes and speaks for the second time. not his last speech. So that's the motivation we have to give him. That was a wonderful introduction. What did we learn from that? When people try to bring you down, you should never give up and try to find ways to get up. Similar to what a second speaker does, he gets dumped with unnecessary and unusable data where he converts it to usable information. Before introducing the second speaker, I request the evaluator, Toastmaster Abhirama, to please read out the guidelines.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. The speaker is attempting the project researching and presenting from level 1 of team collaboration pathway. The purpose of the project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and provide and present a well-organized and a well-researched speech on any topic. Timer, please note the speech duration is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to the speaker and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhirama. Now, the second speaker, by occupation, is a data plumber who transforms data from not usable data to usable information. He is also the past president of Bangalore Toastmasters Club. From what I have seen, whenever he comes and gives a speech here, it doesn't appear like a speech. It's more like an education session. And the topic he selected for today is also like the topic which we select for education sessions. Speech is all about body language and the tone of voice. So please join me in welcoming the second speaker, Toastmaster Vivek Vijayan.
A few years back, I had brought my 8-year-old son to the club, and incidentally, I was delivering a speech like the way it is today. It's a prepared speech. And on the way back home, he asked me, "Why were you doing a lot of actions on the stage?" So I told him, "You're too young to understand. Did you notice that I did not win the best speaker award? You know why? Because that actions were not good enough. The actions has to be much more. And when you grow up, you will understand. Only 7% of what you say matters. The rest is how you say it. You're too young to understand. And you concentrate on your ice cream and we'll go back home. Alright?" After a few months after this incident, I was in the committee, and while interacting with a very erudite and a senior citizen who was coming here as a guest, who had already attended 3 meetings, she asked me, "I'm not sure if I must join this club, as I do not know if I can be so dramatic on the podium." I told her, "Ma'am, that is the reason why you should join the club. Only 7% of what you say matters. Rest of it is body language and tonality. So over a period of time you can hone it. So you should join." The guest believed me, and she has joined the club. A month later, after this incident, I was speaking to Dr. Rajdeep Manwani, who's well known. Most of you do not need an introduction. Who's well known for popular keynote addresses, and asked him why does he restrict himself to contests only in evaluation and table topics, and why not the international speech contest. What he told was pretty baffling to me. He told me that he would not even win at the club level, because it's like there is a select judging criteria, and 30% of the judging criteria is reserved for the delivery, and he does not have a chance. And these 3 instances, one with an 8-year-old, then with a senior citizen, and then with an acclaimed speaker, made me feel something is fishy. You all agree that Toastmasters' goal is effective communication. Here to say that Dr. Manwani is not an effective communicator, going by the judge's palette, would be as stupid as saying that Ratan Tata is not a great businessman because he does not have a full-time MBA. That is when I wore my professional hat of a data evangelist, and we are trained to be skeptical. We are trained to be skeptical whenever the metrics and the anecdotes differ. And in this case, it differed and I had to do some deep research. When I kind of discovered is that most public speaking coaches, including Toastmasters, big and small, have downplayed the importance of language, saying only 7% of the effectiveness of the communication is down to language. But where does the 7% come from? Is it a figment of imagination? And on what basis is the 7%? After some research, I found that the public speaking coaches cite a research paper published by a professor by name Professor Albert Mehrabian in 1967. That's 55 years back, and claimed the rule of 7-38-55. What does the 7-38-55 stand for? 7 is your speech effectiveness, only 7% is the language that you use, 38% is the tonality or the voice tonality, and the 55% is the body language. And that seems to have led to this pop culture of speaking style of confidence and charisma. And don't worry about the words. It's all about how you walk, all about how you speak. Fair enough, fair enough. I dig further to see if such a professor really existed, and did he really tell that? Indeed, he existed. And what did this professor really study and publish? There are two papers that he published in 1967. That is, one was decoding of inconsistent communications, and another one is inference of attitudes from non-verbal communication in two channels. Both the papers experimented with communication of positive or negative emotions via single spoken words. For example, if somebody tells you your speech was good, you can see if they were telling it in an enthusiastic manner or whether it was a very conceited manner. But it is absurd to apply this to the overall communication and particularly public speaking. The professor himself is so fed up of this that if you go to the website of Professor Albert Mehrabian, he has put it in bold words that he is widely misinterpreted over a long period of time, saying that he says this, he's put it in bold, you can go search. Unless a communicator is talking about feelings or attitudes, like saying I love you or how are you or things like that, the equation of 7, 38 and 55 is completely not applicable. But that is something people fail to really go and check. And that is the reason why the legendary head of TED, not TEDx, TED, Chris Anderson, has personally curated the best TED Talks, and that is why the whole substance of the talk depends on the words. Tone of voice and body language is important, but not at the cost of words. Finally, if you look at the evolution of TED and pop culture of public speaking, my research yields that I concluded that excessive use of tonality and body language is a reflection of inadequacy of intellect. Finally, I'll leave you with this illustration. If you want to say, for example, illustration, that more a person knows about an environment, more they find fault in it. I can demonstrate two things. One, first way of saying, the more you know about the audience, more you know about an organization, my friends, the more you know, more you find fault in it. The more you find fault in it is one way of doing it. Other ways, stand straight. You don't have to bring in any voice modularity. Just say, familiarity breeds contempt. Which method do you want to take? Do you want to opt for the use of the magic of words, or do you want to adopt the theatre of the absurd? The choice is yours. Which goes first?
That was a wonderful speech delivered. How many of you play instruments here? Any instrument? Any instrument? Which one do you play? Any instrument? Any of them? I see you're an expert in playing instruments. All of us play instruments. It is inbuilt within us, our voice. We can change it the way we like. We can increase the tone, we can decrease the tone. It is the most powerful instrument which can start a war or make someone fall in love with you. It has that power. So, talking about voice modulation, body language, excess or shortage thereof. Well done, Toastmaster Vivek, once again. Moving on to the third prepared speech. Before introducing the speaker, I request the evaluator, Toastmaster Aaron, to read out the guidelines.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Good evening. The prescribed time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, but more importantly, the objective of the speech is for the speaker to identify her primary leadership style or leadership styles, share some particular aspects of her leadership style, or speak in general about leadership styles. All the very best to the speaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aaron. How many of you have traveled abroad, visited other countries? How many? How many countries have you visited? 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So probably even if we add up all the counters here, it will not reach the next speaker's tally list. She has visited 17 countries. I don't think I visited 17 states in India. I visited 17 countries all over the world. She joined Toastmasters Club way back in 2004. She took a break later. Now she is back to the bank to complete her pathway, all re-energized. Please welcome Toastmaster Srilakshmi.
Good morning, dear team. Good morning. Well, I'd like you to repeat after me today. Please go ahead. We're going to be the best team. We're going to be the best team. We will complete all the deliverables on time. You will follow all the instructions without any questions. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, how many times have we come across similar situation in varied scenarios where the leader feels that they need not be questioned and simply followed? That is a trap, where leaders feel that they have all the solutions for all the problems faced. I made that mistake too. With all my learnings, I came to know that leaders do not need to have all the solutions for the problems faced. Instead, what I learned, we need to create a conducive environment to have scope for discussion. More importantly, enable and empower an individual to think and come up with a solution on their own and not blindly follow instructions. My first take on being a leader, where I had an impact on large group, was way back in the college when I was leading the Students' Council. My general leadership style was getting the common consensus of all the people involved in the leadership decisions. What I saw and realized was not everybody were happy all the time. So this altruistic or amicable leadership style was not impacting and getting optimal results by me all the time. I'm glad all these experiences came in way back earlier on in my life. I took those learnings and moved on to the next phase of my life. To have worked under many leaders and learning many and their varied leadership styles, one thing I learned was you do not have one leadership style that fits all to get the optimal solution. Yes, it's true, because when you fit one solution to all, it does not hold good. I can give you an example in my workplace. I led the Liquid Studio in my organization. You might question, what is Liquid Studio? Liquid Studio had a vision of breaking down complex problem statements into shorter, viable solutions, and also get the client's buy-in or agreement. We had to take a lot of risk and also collaborate with the team members' creativity. This leadership style of mine narrowed it down to the innovative leadership style. Another example I'd like to share is when I took up the charge of the well-being of my family in terms of during COVID crisis. We needed to get disciplinary actions and also follow instructions. You might ask why. One, how do we save ourselves in getting infected from the deadly virus at the start of the COVID? Two, unfortunately, most of us have been contracted with that deadly virus, and we were the unfortunate ones too. We did contract, but again, how do we get the disciplinary actions and follow instructions in getting ourselves out of that deadly virus as soon as possible? I really saw myself exhibiting the authoritative leadership. I took those learnings and also exercised them in my professional career as well. In summary, whether leaders are made, whether leaders are born, one thing that stood out, one leadership style will not hold good in getting the optimal results all the time. So my friends, I have been learning different leadership styles, putting to use in different situations life throws at me. Yes, life keeps throwing a lot of situations. I want to keep learning, keep exercising, and making myself follow that leadership styles and be a leader today and tomorrow. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Srilakshmi. We learned a lot about the different leadership styles and the issues and challenges it comes with and how to deal with that. So that concludes the first segment, which is the prepared speech. Before I go any further, I think the voting link is on. So I request all the members to cast the vote for the best speaker. The password is energy. Capitalization does not matter. Password is energy. Let us take 20 seconds to cast our votes. Speaking of food. Speaking of food, I think all of us are hungry all of a sudden, right? I think we'll take a short break of 8 minutes. We'll assemble after 8 minutes for the next session, which is the table topic session. We'll break for snacks now.
Super.
Super?
Yeah.
I'm not hearing, so if it's not loud enough, then I don't think it was good.
Super.
Whom do we acknowledge?
Sureka.
So big round of applause once again to Toastmaster Vivek. Before we move to the second segment, which is the table topic segment, we have a small announcement to make. So I request Toastmaster Melvin Smith, please do the honors.
This is just to give you a heads up that next week we're going to have the elections for the club. There are 7 roles. I'm happy to inform you that we've got nominations for all the roles. But the last date is 12th of June, like we had mentioned earlier. So you can still send in your nominations if you think you have the ability to run the club, because more the merrier. I have not acknowledged any of the nominations yet. We shall do it once we, maybe by tomorrow. The nominations stop on the 12th. However, you can still nominate yourself on the floor of the house. That's it for now. Thank you.
So finally, it's time for the dreaded, as people call it, or infamous table topics session. Now, to provide us with the challenge of table topics, we have amongst us a table topics master. Today's table topics master is an engineer by profession. He works for a commercial property insurance company as a group manager. He likes traveling and relaxing with his family over the weekends. So to explain you more about the table topics session and to give out new challenges to all the members and guests, we have our table topics master for the day, Toastmaster Manigandan Krishnamurthy.
Once Pichu approached a woman and said, "Haven't I seen you somewhere before?" The pretty woman looked at Pichu and replied, "Yeah, that's why I don't go there anymore." Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Think on your feet and be able to have a witty conversation is something all of us love to have and master. And to help us practice, that is this session, table topics. So table topics, as you know, it's an impromptu speech. A topic will be given. You can talk for, against, something related, something unrelated, but utilize the podium to speak for 2 minutes. I'll be giving the topics and calling out the names of Toastmasters who can come and speak here for 2 minutes. So let's get started. The first topic is, this topic I had my top list and president today, Pratik, used it, but still I'm giving it. Crying baby gets the milk. Crying baby gets the milk. And the topic goes to Toastmaster Varsha.
I thought crying baby usually got some tonic or words. That's a popular ad. But yes, crying babies do get milk, crying babies do get sleep, crying babies do get everything, but crying babies also get some pinches, and they also get some scoldings, they also get some shoutings if it gets excess. So babies unfortunately do not know to control their cry. So people who crib are also in that level, who do not know to control their emotions. These are the ones who are not mastering the situations. Instead, the situations are mastering them. If not, they wouldn't be reaching that level of demanding things every now and then. Agreed? So that is my stand on the topic.
Looks like the Varsha is a good caretaker, babies. Okay, the next topic is, if not now, then when? If not now, then when? The topic goes to Toastmaster Guru.
Thank you very much for your. If not now, then when? Because it is true. Toastmasters, life is limited. We don't have too much of time. We never know. Again, we get an opportunity to again have a reborn in the same country. So, when you have an opportunity, don't leave it unexplored. You see to that, whatever the extent you can make it happen, do it. The best. In your area, in your capacity. Not necessarily to compare with somebody else. You always need to have a competition within yourself. Don't compare with somebody. Don't compare with a great speaker, I want to become a great speaker. It will not happen. You compare yourself. I'm better. How I'm going to do tomorrow. Better speaker tomorrow. Similarly, if you are doing good in your career, if you are better today, whether you are not going to do tomorrow. In all the aspects, you can compare yourself and start going and see the results. One fine day, you are the leader in your own area. And when you have the leadership, you really understand the value of exploring the opportunity. This is all the Toastmasters.
Thanks, Guru. Rightly said. Enjoy what you do. And next topic is, why do you matter? Why do you matter? And the topic goes to Toastmaster Alok Simha.
Topics taking a slightly philosophical, spiritual, preachy tone here. Why do you matter? Right now, all of you matter to me here because once I complete my speech, all of you need to applaud. That's on one note that I would like to start this little bit of 2 minutes. But if I were to take the tone of what is meant in the topic, why do you matter? Honestly, if you don't matter to yourself, whom will you matter? Why do you matter? I don't think we need to answer this question to people around us. We don't need to answer this to the world. Possibly, probably you need to answer this question to yourself. Like the previous topic said, if not now, when? Now that is a question you need to answer to your own self. Now, why do you matter is a question that you need to answer to your own self, because what is the purpose that you have every morning when you get up? What is it that you're going to think about the entire day before you go to bed? That is what is going to matter, and that is a question you need not answer to anyone else. That is a question you need not answer to anyone else but to yourself. Now there is this little poem that I wrote some years ago, and I think 4 lines from that poem are something relevant here. I'll just quote them and end my 2 minutes. It is to them, those eyes in the mirror. It is to them, those eyes in the mirror, that you always matter. Be it success, be it failure, you'll always emerge stronger. It is to those eyes in the mirror that you always owe an answer. It is to those eyes in the mirror that you always owe an answer. Be it success, be it failure, you'll always emerge stronger. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thanks, Alok. You matter a lot to Bangalore Toastmasters Club. The next topic is, the work week should be shorter. The work week should be shorter, and I would like to call Toastmaster George.
So I kept
the next speech title doesn't matter. That is what my title was. This thing. Yes, I think I am a bit workaholic, and I spend much of my time in my work. And my wife, I think, expects me to have a shorter week. And from last few months, her schedule of work also being gone very far, very long in a day. So both of our text time is very short now, only on Saturday, Sunday, and Saturday, Sunday will be engaged with our son. So I think somewhere we need to plan, both of us, to have a work week, to plan it properly and to enter our daily work upfront in the evening and to have some family quality time, which is very important. Yeah, at the end of the day, we are working for our family and to have build up that bonding and relationship with our family, with wife and my son. So I think that's a good one. I think it looks very ideal for the private company, the work week to be very small, but somewhere it is not impossible. We need to work on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Raj. And next topic is men are happier than women. Men are happier than women. And I would like to call Toastmaster Priyanka.
I don't know if men are happier than women or women are happier than men, but I know that happiness is defined by you and how you want to take forward towards life. It's very easy to tell that men is happier than women because some people think that a lot of responsibilities go towards women when it comes in terms of managing home and work. So I'm assuming that's why a line phrase of this is being made, thinking about how things were a lot being oriented towards women at one point of time. But if I see it in today's world, I don't see it that way. I feel everything is very equally distributed at the men or the women. I see them both taking equal responsibility. And in fact, I've seen it in my own company where they started implementing, especially for taking care of their kids, that is the paternal leave, where earlier maternity leave was definitely a good amount of months given to women, while for the fathers, they were only given a week or two. But now I see that also being implemented even for the men, where they can spend quality time with children, understand how is it to actually mother or father a child. So if I have to speak on this, so I will not be able to say rightly about it, but I feel everybody right now have been equally distributed the responsibilities, having a sense of responsibility about what is your responsibility and how unfair it is to throw it on one particular partner or one particular person of the family. And it is a kind of awareness where everyone has gotten right now, which is so important that everybody takes equal responsibility no matter whatever role you're playing. Mother, father, daughter, brother, sister, no matter whatever role you're playing. So this is something, a lot of awareness that has come. I probably could be we can give a credit to the hard times that we got through because of COVID. But what I have seen, a huge drastic change where there is an equal balance of responsibility and everyone is equally happier. Thank you.
Thanks, Priyanka, for clarifying. Okay, the next topic is we are the people our parents warned us about. We are the people our parents warned us about. Topic goes to Toastmaster Ganesh Pai. We are the people our parents warned us about.
Very, very profound topic. I must say. We are the people our parents want us about. I guess that's the direction, right? I mean, our parents would want us to be somebody, achieve some level of success in life, and they would say, hey, this is what you want, but at the same time they say, don't take this path, don't cheat somebody, don't tell a lie. and how life conspires, I don't know. I mean, eventually we end up taking a path. Somewhere down the line, I think it will have traces of all those things which they would not have been proud of seeing us do. But that is what it is. But still, I guess, life always gives you multiple choices to bounce back. Okay? No matter you would have made some mistakes, but still, you are just a decision away to turn back and say, hey, fine, I made my mistake, I blew it off, but I can still take the responsibility. I guess if we can be that child who's honest enough to say, I made the mistake, my dear parents, but I am going to rewrite, I am going to wash away all my sins and want to make a start. I think they're the first one to bless you and be the cheerleader in the journey. So fine, I mean, if they want us to not do something and eventually we ended up doing it, still life has given us multiple choices to make a brand new start. And I guess if we can make that, they will forget and possibly bless us. We be the children they wanted us to be.
Let's get on that question. So next topic is, if necessity is the mother of invention, who is the father? If necessity is the mother of invention, who is the father? And the topic goes to Toastmaster Rajdeep.
A year or two back, I had gone to a college to give a talk, and when I had gone over there to give a talk, the talk was supposed to start at 9:30, but by 10:30 nothing had happened, and I was very, very upset. I was very, very upset with the organizer, and I called him and I spoke to him rudely. What is this? You have to respect my time. I also have to go back and I have to tell you that. And he said, sorry sir, I will take it over. But after a few minutes I realized my mistake. So I called him back and I told him, sorry, I was a little rude to you, but I have to go back, so please could you organize the talk quickly. So he called all the students, and then at that particular point of time he organized the talk, and the first statement which he mentioned over there on the stage is, he said, Rajdeep is a very good man, correct? He speaks his mind, but he keeps nothing in his behind. So I thought he invented it brilliantly. I thought anger is the father of invention, because at that point of time my anger led him to invite something beautiful. But what I also think is, not only necessity, but creativity is the mother of invention. There was a contest which was held, how do you define curds? And many people said coagulated milk, some people said thickened milk. But there was one person who said, very humble person, milk sleeping night, morning becoming tight. And I think so, creativity is the mother of invention. So please, the person who's ringing the bell, don't keep anything in your mind. I will be soon sitting behind. So with that I would say, both creativity and anger are the fathers of invention. Correct?
Okay, now we know mother and father of invention. So the next topic is, if you could be a fictional character, who would it be and why? And the topic I would like to call Toastmaster Melvin.
I've said this many times that I knew this topic is for me. Not because I knew anything about the topic, it's because he said he's going to call me, and I was expecting from the very first topic, I said, oh, that topic is for me, the second topic is for me, the third topic. And then Rajiv took the best topic, mother and father. What is my topic now? Well, fictional character. First of all, we are created not to be fictional. We are created to be real people in this world. We all have a purpose. Like somebody was asking, who am I? And what is my purpose? I think we all definitely have a purpose in life. Of course, we keep doing different things at different times, and that becomes our purpose in life. If you ask me what's my purpose in life, I think today I have come to I don't know if it's the sunset years, but inching very fast to that place. So I think my purpose just now is to be a good grandfather. Don't look at me, I'm really a grandfather. To be a good grandfather, to be a role model. I think to be young and to be a grandfather is very difficult. Because they think, I myself, when I think of a grandfather, I think like, I was singing the song, My Grandfather's Clock, and I realized I'm a grandfather. Well, now I think it's the time for the clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vivek. And our last topic is how autocorrect changed your life. How autocorrect changed your life, and it goes to Arish, Toastmaster Arish.
How autocorrect changed your life. I mean, I hope that statement is true and can be made real. Talking about fictional characters, it's a really nice topic, but everybody, everybody makes mistakes, and we do this day in day out, small, big, somebody impacting, it could be mistakes which you don't want to think about or you want to change it. And if we had this magical autocorrect sort of feature in your lives, I think so many of our relationships, so many of our, situations can be dealt differently. But sometimes people say that people learn from experiences, right? And when you have something like an autocorrect, I don't think you grow as a person. So I believe that autocorrect is good for your computers, laptops. In life, you should not have that. Make mistakes, learn, grow, be a better person next day.
With that, we come to the conclusion of table topics. I would like to conclude this.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manikandan, for the wonderful table topic session. Wasn't it wonderful?
Yes.
It was funny, motivational, inspiration, everything at the same time. Yes. So one more round of applause to him for celebrating this topic. I fondly remember this time, the situation many years ago. Okay, before I tell about the story, we have the voting links open again for the best table topic speaker. So I request all the members to take 20 seconds to cast your vote. The password remains same, energy. Done? Yeah, I was just saying I fondly remember this time many years ago when I had written my first professional exam. One of the most difficult exams in the world, the CA exam. This was my CA entrance exam. It was the day of the results. How do you feel when it's your result day? I was nervous, I was afraid, stomach keeps churning from inside. I get a call from a friend of mine who was also awaiting results herself. He told, why worry? If you have given your best, worrying won't make it any better. Trust me, I would like to say that it helped me a lot, but it didn't. It won't work. That day, no matter how many inspirational stories, motivational stories you hear, it won't work. But yet, sometimes, when you hear the right words at the right time, you somehow feel comfortable. And that's how I hope the speakers for today are feeling, because they are subject to evaluation right now. We are moving on to the evaluation section. The general evaluator for today, that anonymous person, He's an IT guru who has mentored a lot of people here at Toastmasters and outside also. He's a very seasoned Toastmaster. He's here from many years, and whatever role he takes up, he brings his uniqueness to it. So please put your hands together in welcoming the Judicial Liberator for the day, Toastmaster Sudipto Ghosh.
For folks sitting at the back, could you just come up and fill up some of the empty spaces?
There are places here.
So fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening.
Good evening.
Love trying with this because I got specific feedback that I'm not audible in the back. So a couple of weeks back, I was in Kodaikanal. I booked a hotel, DRT Great Hills, which is somewhat higher in the mountains. When I had reserved the room, I specifically requested a chalet room with a balcony. As I reached the reception, I was told, sir, we have a great room, great chalet room for you, but no balcony. Why? What happened? Sir, the last one got taken. I was not a happy camper listening to that. And I made a lot of song and dance. I was the squeaky wheel. And sure enough, I was greased and somehow magically one last room was found for me with balcony. So, just goes on to show on what some of the earlier speakers have said, how a squeaky wheel can get you results. But again, within limits, right? Let's say if you were a mouse here, listening to that and start squeaking, you'll soon land up being a luncheon for a cat walking around. Come to the meeting. Today's meeting started sharp at 6:30 p.m. We started off with the induction session by George. George, where are you? George, you were well prepared, very articulate with the session. You pointed out the mentors as well, had us to the oath. I think all in all, well done. The one point where you could have improved upon for the meeting was when you invited the two members being sworn in today, Sharma and Yash. You could have done that with more fanfare. You just made it just matter of fact, Sharma, Yash can come up. I mean, they have been inducted into this August club, right? They need more celebration for their induction ceremony. But with that, I think as I said, you were very articulate and carried the session very well. Let's hear it for George. Next we had Chaitra on stage as the Sergeant at Arms. Chaitra, I would say, you came up with a very smiling demeanor, pretty much, lifted the mood of the audience. I think it's definitely my mood, and I'm sure for all of us. You were very crisp. You welcomed all of us warmly, and very soon, just took a couple of minutes, and then very crisply invited the presiding officer, had some good words about him, and then handed the lectern over to him. I would say very nicely, very well done. Just a wee bit thing which you could have done better. I know you worked a lot on setting the stage, right? Before the meeting, I was here 15 minutes back and saw you, furiously working on the blackboard and other stuff. And the fact that we started on time at 6:30 is actually kudos to your efforts, right? Just that, few minutes before we start, if you could have, just like you rang the bell in between, if you could have rang the bell, show that sense of urgency to the folks so that we could have gathered more, even though we did start on time. So okay, kudos to you for that, and let's hear it for Chaitra. Next up, we had presiding officer Pratik. Pratik, this is the first time you are doing this one. Very well done, I would say. Very nicely handled. I know not easy to don the president's hat first time, and you spoke about the theme, you spoke about our club and the rich tradition of Bangalore Toastmasters Club, and then you had your own take on the theme of the day. I think all very well done. Maybe just we are looking for a little more some more inspirational stuff you could have added to the speech, your welcome speech. Might be a little bit better, but all said and done, you did a great job. Let's hear it from. Next up on the stage was our impudent Toastmasters of the day. Shashank, fantastic job. I think you had a masterful exhibition of how this role can be done. I know this was your first time you're doing it here, but you're no stranger to the stage. I was here for an icebreaker and heard some wonderful things about you. So I think you just justified all the things which you had done earlier, and absolutely great job done. Let's see a few of the things you really exceeded, I would say. First of all, you had great intros all around for all the speakers. Very well done on that count. Then one of the central tenets of a good Toastmaster of the day, the MC, is not only handling the meeting, but how you connect from one speech to the next speech. And I thought that's where you excelled. You kind of summarized the earlier speech and then found one small nugget to connect the first speech to the second to the third. Again, great job done. The other highlight I felt about you was how you engage with the audience. First off, you engage with the guests and took that as a cue to introduce the Toastmasters movement. Again, kudos to you on that. And later on also I remember, on the introduction to cheering, right? Or let's say on amping up the cheering volume and how you called all of us together. Super brilliant. Okay, other than that, I think you were very articulate, confident, and it goes without saying that I think you own the stage. Not much feedback to give you. Just one thing you could have done is being more crisper, right? I checked with the timer in between the break, and you took all of 13 minutes to elucidate on the theme of the day, which is way too much. But I think kudos to you on one particular thing. I think you were the only speaker to connect the theme to a leadership mantra, right? How not just greasing the wheel, grease all the wheels, right? So again, great take on the theme. Just shorten it up a little bit. Again, I think we have to hear the same way how Shashank said about cheering. Okay, before I go to the speeches, let me complete the evaluation for our topics master. Manikandan, very thoughtful topics and kind of lesson in philosophy, right? Some of your topics were really deep, but that we have three tenets in a Toastmasters meeting: better speaking, better listening. That's part of evaluation, but better thinking, right? That's what your topics made all the speakers do. They made everyone think on the feet, and which is very very needed, right, in such kind of meetings. Maybe you could have, exhibited one thing at the start, right? If you are, like, if I get a new topic and I'm stuck, right, to speak, right, how do I handle that? Right? Maybe I just say, come and smile and go. Right? But other than that, I think all the table topic speakers added a lot of humor to the session. They took your topics and really ran with it. I think some of the jewels I have had is, I think there is Varsha. She definitely wants to feed all the babies, all the crying babies with good words. Guru doesn't want us to be born in this country anymore, I guess. Right? And Alok, after Alok's speech, I don't know whether I matter or anybody else matters for that matter. Priyanka, she doesn't want anybody to be happy. And what about Ganesh? Oh, Ganesh wants the parents to forget about their children altogether, I guess. And with Rajdeep, I'm not sure. His topic was on fathers, he spoke only on mothers. And Melvin, okay, he wants to be the fictional grandfather. But all in all, Mani, your topics were very good, and I think it led to a very engaging session for the team. So let's hear it for Mani. Okay, we will go to the prepared speeches now. The first speaker we had was Kaushal, and could I invite his evaluator, Sureka ma'am, to come to the stage.
Just keep my cough tablet here at my side. So, what a smashing, super duper icebreaker speech that was. Toastmaster Kaushal. Good evening, gentle evaluator, my very dear friends, and Toastmaster Kaushal in particular. You delivered your icebreaker speech. Fantastic it was. Absolutely smashing indeed. You were supposed to be delivering an icebreaker. You ended up with a classic blockbuster. You spoke about you, and you did that wonderfully well too. Not only did you icebreak, but you embarked on the daybreak of your speech journey by delivering that absolutely fabulous speech. I must say, you are a natural, impeccable speaker. And you know what? What did I like about your speech? The content of your speech, I loved your message. It was encapsulated in your title, believe in yourself, and trust the journey. I think as Toastmasters, aren't we all here to believe in ourselves? Yes. And to trust our Toastmasters journey? Yes. You were spot on. I just loved you for that. Very well done on that. And in that way, indeed, you were a Pollyanna today. And what did I like about your delivery? Your tone perfectly matched your personality. Your eye contact was effective and made perfect contact with your audience. Very well done on that. Your hand gestures were, how were your hand gestures? Relaxed, free-flowing, smooth. I encourage you to carry on this craft in your future speeches as well. Did you speak loudly and clearly? Of course you did. You rocked your talk all the way to the ending. Wonderful indeed. Were you well prepared? Picture perfect. No notes, no hesitation at all. Wonderful. It was really a privilege to evaluate you. Now, Kaushal, everyone says that the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Right? So here are one or two very basic suggestions for your improvement that will earn you more compliments. And we all love compliments, don't we? Yes. Of course we do. So does Kaushal. So I personally felt that if you had told us why you joined Toastmasters, probably you would have had a deeper emotional connect with your Toastmaster buddies. Right? And probably if you had used the pause a lot more liberally, you would have given the audience enough time to digest and assimilate what you had to say. But regardless of that, your speech was marvelous and brilliant. And as you all know, and as I want to tell Kaushal, every ending leads to a brand new beginning. So as you come to the ending of your icebreaker speech, may you be led to many more brilliant landmark speeches where you will continue to educate and delight our eyes, our hearts, and our ears. Keep doing your best and be the best that you can ever be, because your best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Sureka. Just like the masterful speech icebreaker, it was a masterful evaluation as well. Kaushal, I think you just aced the icebreaker. Nothing else to add to that. For your future speeches, I know you were kind of nervous. You mentioned that pacing, swinging a lot on the speech. Just restrict the moment. Your speech and all that was too good, right? And again, Sureka ma'am's evaluation itself was masterful as well. So can we hear it for both Sureka and next speaker on the stage was Vivek, and can we hear it from Abhinava's evaluation?
Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, a very good evening to all of you. To start with, the purpose of the speech was to present a well-organized and a well-researched speech. And the speaker did exceedingly well. It was a very well-organized speech. The speaker started off with stories of his son, a new member, a probable member at the Toastmasters meeting, and Dr. Rajdeep's words. And all these stories evoked that curiosity in all of us to really know what the research the speaker actually made. So job very well done. And then he took us to the research part, and there comes the next good thing about the speech, that is, it was very well researched. He quoted Dr. Albert Mehrabian, his research papers. He even guided us to his website where he has the statement that it is, his words are misinterpreted. And I must say that it was an exceedingly well organized and well researched speech. The third good thing about the speech, I don't know if the speaker agrees, was that it had a very good vocal variety. Even though the speaker was saying that it should use good magic of words, and he was not very much in the favor of body language and vocal variety, his speech had good vocal variety, and that did really help to channelize the message really well. Now, having said that, I felt that the speech was overloaded with words and data, and I sometimes felt really difficult to keep track of it. And as a result, there is a possibility that the speaker's actual message could have been misinterpreted, just like how Albert Mehrabian's message has been misinterpreted. So Albert Mehrabian has this 7:38:55 rule where if you just go by that rule, people will think that the usage of words is almost not important at all. But though the speaker's message was excessive use of tonality and body language is a result of inadequacy of intellect. The word is excessive usage of tonality and body language. I somehow felt that the speech could have been misinterpreted by people in the audience. People will go back home and tell their kids that, hey, look, don't worry about your body language and tone, your words really matter. So in the process of emphasizing the magic of words, I felt that the speaker understated the importance of tonality and body language. Having said that, I felt that it was a wonderful education session and not just a speech. The topic was so intriguing, and we were all expecting Toastmaster Vivek to talk about the benefits of body language and vocal variety, but it was completely the opposite. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vivek, for this wonderful education session. Wishing you all the best, and back to you, Mr. General Evaluation.
Thank you, Abhinama. Very detailed evaluation. Vivek, two things I will carry from your speech or which stood out. I think the use of two of these phrases, I know it's for the grammarian to say, but I can't resist, like the theatre of the absurd and inadequacy of intellect. I really love those. The other part was, you give a fantastic demonstration of the body language, when at the end of the speech you went on the side and talked about, I don't remember what it was, but it was so well done. What my heart pined for was, for 90% of the speech, you were like holding on to this paper which kind of was referring, and the other hand was also stuck here. So if you had done more of that, I would have been even more happier. But nonetheless, a very engaging speech from you and great evaluation from Abhinama. So let's hear it for both of us. The third speaker for today was Vijayan. No, sorry. My apologies. Rather if I didn't hear that. So to evaluate her, we have Aaron on the stage.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and Toastmaster Srilakshmi in particular, the case of the mistaken identity today. Well, after coming back from a bit of a hiatus to Toastmasters, just over a month, your speech is exactly what I was missing and what I longed for to come back to Toastmasters. And I'm so grateful that I did today. You see, your speech was similar to something that happened in 2008. Now, what happened in 2008 was that J.K. Rowling gave a leadership speech at the Harvard Business School, but it wasn't any leadership speech. That turned out to be the most watched speech on the Harvard website, and was also centered around the same theme as your speech, Toastmaster Srilakshmi, which is essentially one size doesn't fit all. Use your imagination and adaptation for situations. That speech today of yours gave me glimmers of J.K. Rowling's speech, and that I think is a compliment in itself. Doing a bit of a deep dive into your speech, I think the most important things that you have in a speech are ethos, pathos, and logos. But especially when you're here preaching to people about leadership, management, I think pathos and logos are the most important, which is basically logos being logic, which is what you had, and I'll come to that through your personal examples and the message that you got across. But the credibility, and for me, the utmost credibility is established through a personal connection. Now, how is that established? Through personal life instances. And that you did so well. The three things that I absolutely loved about your speech, one on the softer aspect, the intangibles if you want to call it, is how you use the stage to begin with. You had about 30 seconds of mimicking a dialogue, yourself, your voice modulation, using the stage marvelously, using your strengths, which is your voice, your body gestures, to keep our interest. You see, the first 30 seconds is what defines the rest of your speech in terms of gauging the audience interest. And in the last row, you kept us hooked. And that, I think, was a great start and set the tone for the rest of the speech. Coming to the second point, and more on the content, absolutely marvelous message. The conclusion, the message for all of us, you gave examples, you gave types of leaderships, there was a lot of content, personal examples in there, and basically it was an education session in itself on things we've all encountered and experienced. And the last is, and I cannot stress enough, when for example when you took your liquid studio example, how you get into breaking complex problems down, how it helped, even something as recent as dealing with COVID in the last couple of years, and how a specific leadership style for that was so important in navigating out of the dangers of the pandemic. So relevant, right? These are the things that I absolutely loved about your speech, which you stitched together these gems, to make a necklace of beauty in leadership, which is not very easy. So, big round of applause, please. And if there are a couple of things I can give you, Toastmaster Srilakshmi, to catapult your speech to a masterclass, on a global international stage, and tomorrow we'd all love to see you in one of the Ivy League business schools deliver this as well. Two things. One, I'd say maybe when you go into leadership styles, I would have liked you to have gone a little more in depth. For example, why the authoritative style worked for COVID, but it didn't work in the example that you started off with the boss just dictating orders, to employees. Why it may have worked, why maybe some of the, in your first experience, why that didn't work when you tried to do something. Because when you explain a one-size-fits-all, I think it's important to say the positive as well as the flip side of the examples that you give. So I think that could have been touched on a little better. And the last point I leave you on is, I think, simplifying the takeaways for all of us. Today, if I had to go home, yes, obviously I evaluated your speech, but what would somebody else take from your speech? Is there an abbreviation? Can they remember at the top of their minds 3 leadership styles? Yes, apart from the message, but do they know maybe how to adapt to tomorrow when they're in the office? I think just a small, simple abbreviation, message, something to keep in mind that they can act on, a call to action that they can do when they're at work on Monday. Just these 2 points. Otherwise, a lovely speech. Thank you, and I'm honored to have evaluated your speech. Thank you, and all the very best for your future.
Thank you, Arun. Very detailed. And talking about takeaways, I think my takeaway from your speech was the level of engagement you had with the audience. Your stage presence, your face literally spoke. Your eye contact was fantastic. Your facial demeanors, how you changed with the speech. Very good. Let's hear it for the speaker and. For the evaluators, the magic password is energy. Please go ahead and vote. In this time now, we'll call upon the tag team. We'll start with our timer, Ghanshyam. If we have any questions.
Good evening. Everyone on time except for Priyanka, it was 2 minutes 12 seconds.
Thank you. For the Tremelian Sharma.
Wow, what a wonderful session. So each speaker, whoever came over here on the stage, including evaluators and everyone, each and every individual were like super duper. So I don't have to, because I was like literally listening to each and every single bit of your words which came, but I couldn't even find any mistakes done anywhere, and it was so engrossed. And really, today was my first day. I took oath over here, and also I got as a grammarian part over here to come and speak to you all. But one thing what I can say on my behalf is choosing this Toastmaster Club is really a right path which I choose. Okay, so now let us come to the list of words. So word for today was Pollyanna, Yes, indeed, it was an excessively cheerful and optimistic session. Yeah. So the words which I can recollect from today's topic were squeaky, aggressive, protruding, proactive, reactive, dramatic, baffling, skeptical, charisma, absurd, concise, amicable. So these were some of the words which I could, highlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharma. As part of the grammarian role, maybe one thing we could have done is given a sentence with the word of the day, given that it's kind of very difficult word. I think only one speaker I heard use the word Pollyanna, so maybe an example would have helped. Going on to the our counter, Yash, another first timer.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the session. I was just going through the pages since today is my first day, second session actually, and this was the first time I took the role as an R counter. And I was just going through and I've seen how many words were repeated in what frequency. And I have to say this time there were very few words which were again and again used, like okay was not used at all, and was not used at all, and so. But the only things which were repeated again and again were small pauses for the speakers and a few times and apart from that, everyone did a splendid job, and I hope you all enjoyed today's session.
And to our listener, Mahesh.
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests. Apart from the obvious, the answer for the rest of the people, what are the name of the two newly elected members today? Alright. Okay. What is the type of industry which is entrepreneurial by first speaker Kaushal?
Food chain.
Food chain. What is the profession of our second speaker Vivek Vijayan?
Data plumber.
Okay, data plumber is the right one, or data evangelist you could call it. What is the author of the website which second speaker Toastmaster Vivek Vijayan referred to?
I've got my.
Everybody knows it partly. Alright, the evaluator himself knows it better. Albert Mehrabian. Alright. Okay, last two more to go. The third speaker, Srilakshmi, visited how many countries?
17.
Okay, right. According to our table topic speaker, Rajdeep Manwani, who is the father of invention?
Anger and creativity.
Creativity and anger, that is it. Last question. Coming to our evaluator, Toastmaster Sureka. If the first speech was not an icebreaker, what would it have been?
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster. Wonderful. Over to you, General Girl.
Thank you, Kansham, Sharma, Yash, and Mahesh. With that, I would like to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity to do the role today, and would want to hand the lecture back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, for your insightful comments and suggestions. I hope all the speakers and role takers have something to take home today. Before we move forward, I think the voting link is open for the role takers. So we'll take 20 seconds to cast our votes. Yeah, the link is on. So we'll take 20 seconds to cast our votes. as we head towards the end of the session today, I have one observation or one thing to inform you which sums it all together. It's a story, say, about 6 years ago, if I'm not wrong. I was in Pune for some work and I was stuck in the airport because the flight was delayed. It's a very small and crowded airport there. Because I had to wait, I started chatting up with the person sitting next to me. We were discussing weather, pros and cons of living in a big city versus living in a small city. Where he happened to tell me, जो नहीं है, वो ख्वाब है, पर जो है, वो लाजवाब है. I think that fits the situation perfectly. What we don't have is a wish to be fulfilled. But we should be very thankful for what we have in our lives. So having said that, I think it was a privilege being the team leader today. I thank the committee for giving me this role. I now hand over the speech to the presiding officer, Toastmaster.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Shashank. So in the beginning, I did introduce him as a new member, but with his role today, he did perform as a seasoned Toastmaster. With this, we come to the end of the meeting to the award ceremony. The best talent team player goes to Toastmaster Mahesh. The best table topic speaker award goes to TM Manwan. The best role taker award goes to Toastmaster Shashank Bhatt. The best evaluator award goes to none other than Toastmaster Sureka Jabdari. And the best speaker award goes to Toastmaster Kaushal PK. With this, we come to the end of the meeting. I thank everyone for being here, and I also would like to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity as presiding officer for this week. I declare the meeting 1-3-8 as closed. Thank you.